I'm here to stay. I'm here to stay.
We have had goals galore in our last 2 league matches. 7 scored, but 7 conceded. It is time to shore up at the back and turn those draws into wins. Today we go, the 3rd of 4th successive away games for us as we head to Port Vale. And we haven't been to Vale Park since October 2016. The Valiants have had a solid season since winning promotion via League 2 playoffs in May. They're currently 16th in the table, and they'll come into today's clash with something to prove after being on the end of a 4-0 humbling at Oxford last time out. Lots to get through ahead of kick-off up in Staffordshire, so here's a taster of what's to come. As always, we'll hear from manager Ben Garner, who sat down with Charlton TV commentator Terry Smith yesterday morning. I'll be quizzing Curbs and Brownie on their predictions for the upcoming FIFA World Cup, which of course starts tomorrow. And we'll speak to an addict... Ridiculous. And we'll speak to an Addicts Academy graduate who is now making waves in the first team. It is, of course, Tyrese Campbell. Well, it's deja vu from last weekend. Yes, Curbs and Brownie alongside me because we are playing away from home. Chaps, it is the World Cup tomorrow. Obviously you're joking, is it tomorrow?
Well, no, I keep seeing the adverts on the TV, but I can't get excited at the moment.
Why?
I just can't. I'm just in the middle of the sea. It just ain't right. Anyway, go to Brownie.
We can't start that low and then go to Brownie because we know it's going to get even lower.
Get lower. You're the one that's got to go, I'm pumped up for it.
No, he's excited.
I'm excited.
He's doing work on it.
You're proper Christmas excited.
Well, it's the World Cup. It's once every 4 years. Get over the fact it's in Qatar. Get over the fact that it's in the middle of the winter. Get over the fact that the Premier League has stopped for a bit. This is the World Cup.
Yeah.
Brownie, I don't know why I'm looking for you for help. I'm not going to get any help from you, am I?
Listen, I told you, I think it's an abomination. In the middle of November, all the leagues have stopped around the world. And should never listen. Forget everything else that goes with it. It shouldn't be in November. End of.
Moving swiftly on. Looking at Charlton now, then a 4-4 draw against Ipswich, which felt like a win. A 3-3 draw at Burton, which probably felt like a defeat and could easily have been actually. How do we get back to winning ways, Curbs?
Well, I'm totally confused because I've been saying for some time I couldn't see where the goals are coming from, and suddenly bang, 7, and defensively, I mean, how can you score 7 goals and take 2 points?
Yeah.
That's quite incredible, isn't it? But no, it's the way it is at the moment. This league is so unpredictable. I sat and watched through last night's game, Portsmouth and Derby, who are 2 of the big boys, if you like, and are fighting for the playoff positions.
Tough watch.
It was a tough watch. It was, and I'm thinking, are they that much better than us? Are they?
They're not, is the answer. Yeah. When you watch last night, they're not. But I have this thing in the final third, particularly in League One. We watch a lot of football, and League One football struggles to turn productivity into golden chances, and it's across the board. It's not just us. It's the whole league. We get into final thirds, and the quality just drops off. And the higher you go and watch, the quality.
But that has changed for us in the last 2 games, because when we've got in the final third, we've looked really dangerous and nicked our goals, but it's the other end.
I'll go back to then, when you actually analyse the goals, so many errors, so many.
But I keep on saying this is third-tier football. We must remember.
Absolutely.
So that if players were sticking the ball in the back of the net on a regular basis, they'd be in the Championship or the Premier League. Look, Ben Garner said after last week his players were running on empty. So how happy will he be that there's been a free midweek?
Yeah, he would be. Not too sure how many of the injuries are going to clear up for this week, for today's game. And obviously the squad is getting stretched. And he did say last week that if it continues, he may have to go into the market in the window
and play Brownie.
Yeah, play Brownie. But go into the market.
Poor fella, what choice to have?
But actually go in the market, and I think that looking at what we've got left, we've still got a really strong team and a strong squad, but it's been really pressed at the moment, isn't it, with these injuries?
Yeah, well, we'll come on to the team and hear from Ben in just a second. But in terms of the sort of Port Vale pitch, it's very big.
It used to be mad. Remember under John Rudge? It's the widest pitch in the world, isn't it?
Yeah. So does that suit our style or not?
It should do. I mean, we have got. I mean, I'm sure people know the team by now, and we've got good pace in wide areas. Full back down the left definitely can back it up in Sessignon, and Claire can get forward if he wants to. I don't mean he's as quick as Egbo might, but he can get forward. So I think it will suit us in terms of the formation we play and the pace where we have pace.
OK, lots to get through and squeeze in before kick-off. Let's hear from the manager, Ben Garner, who, of course, has got a touchline ban the first of two today, and he spoke to Terry Smith yesterday morning.
Ben, I mean, this week has been the first time since the end of September that we haven't had a midweek fixture. How grateful were you for that mini break?
Much needed. Much needed. We gave the players an extra day off at the start of the week and a bit of a rest, and that was good because you could see when they come back in they were re-energised and refreshed, and since then it's been a good week in terms of our preparation and been able to have some time on the grass. We've missed it. It's great to have that time with the players and be able to prepare in greater detail than what you can when you've got the quick turnarounds and you're just playing and recovering. So, no, a really good week, much needed, as I say, and hopefully that will show going into tomorrow.
And as well as physically, how important mentally is that you, your staff and your players have a little bit of a time to take stock?
Just as important as physically, I think we've had so many games and it's been a continuous cycle of play, recover, prepare, play. So to have that time away to let the body recover but also the mind, I think you need to do that, and hopefully, as I say, that will now show in this next run of games.
And there was a bit of a threat before this week that you might have some extra time to recover because of the FA charge. Have you had the result of that yet? Yeah,
that's been upheld. So I've been fined and a 2-game touchline ban starting tomorrow. So I'm obviously disappointed with the outcome. I've accepted my responsibilities in terms of the reaction after getting sent off. But I strongly maintain I should never have been booked in the first place. I should never have been sent off. And I would like at some point to have that looked into and the performance of the referee assessed, because I've accepted my punishment, but I still feel very harshly done by, should we say.
And we're off to Port Vale on Saturday, feeling a bit recharged then. You would of course face them last season with Swindon. What can we expect from them, and do you know exactly where you'll be during the game then?
Yeah, a difficult game for sure. Played them obviously in the league twice last year and in the playoffs, and with mixed success, to be honest. We had some really good results and performances, including an away win in the league there. But they're a very committed team, high energy. We'll look to play on the front foot and press. Good spirit, good togetherness within their team. They always fight for everything, and they've obviously got quality within their ranks. I think they've equipped themselves really well to League One, and it will be a difficult game for sure. There's elements I think that will be really important in the game that we've worked on, and I think that will be key. But one thing is for sure, we will have to be our best physically. We have to be at our best in terms of energy and commitment. But we also need to show that bravery and courage with the football to try and play a football game as much as we can and make it our type of game where possible.
Yeah, they've only been beaten 3 times at home in the league this season by Ipswich, Sheffield Wednesday and Portsmouth. Where can we hurt them?
There's key areas I think you can in terms of their shape. As I say, it's difficult because they will be quite aggressive. They quite often will go over man-to-man press. So we have to be intelligent with our movement. We have to be brave with how we play. We're going to have to defend long throws. Lots of them, I would expect, and we're going to have to defend set pieces well. That's going to be critical, but for me, the better we are with the football, the less we have to defend those moments, and we've spoke about that this week. So our focus will be on very much our style of play, our way of playing, dealing with their threats and appreciating them, but as I say, trying to make it more our type of game than their type of game.
Finally, a message for the fans who are heading up to Vale Park to support the team, a number of whom would have played their part at Burton last weekend.
Support's been fantastic. Last 2 away games has been incredible. The away support at Stevenage on a Tuesday night and then up to Burton last Saturday was great, and it was much needed. It really was, because that was a tough week. You know, we went into the Burton game having had the Tuesday night game, the penalty shootout, a late night getting back, and most of those players had to go again on the Saturday. And Burton had a full week to prepare. We're fresh. We're desperate for points in the position they are in the league, and our supporters. Particularly second half shooting towards them made a huge difference, and once again I thank everyone that's travelling tomorrow.
Yeah, and we should do too as well, especially the way things are costing at the moment, so well done to everybody who will be travelling. He's not going to be on the touchline, Kurt. No. When I asked you beforehand about a touchline ban, we've heard about your Webby story where he's offered you a beer during the game and you got sent off. I can't believe you've never had a touchline ban. Brownie's not having it.
I'd have lost money. I'd have lost money on that for sure. 100%. How have you never been sent off?
I went to the FA and smooched them.
Yeah, there's a shock. There's a shock.
And got let off. And I thought, I ain't going to do that. I won't do that no more.
There's no point. You can't argue with the FA. No. You cannot argue with the FA.
But you've been sent off as assistant manager.
Yeah, assistant manager. I threw my pad and my pen at the referee, yeah. Yeah, and it was the longest walk. I had an 8-lane running track round it, so I had to trudge off over this running track, and I was getting booed and everybody, and then I had to go and sit in amongst them.
I thought you were going to say you were going to pick the pen up because it was a present for Mandy.
No, yeah. I don't get presents from Mandy, mate. No.
But how difficult? You'll have to imagine it then. The question: how difficult will it be from the touchline? Will it be nothing much different?
No disrespect, I don't think it's that difficult in the stadiums that we're playing in at the moment. You know, in the Premier League, if you've got a ban, you know, there's no way you can make any contact. But I used to sit upstairs anyway, first half, because I'd much prefer to sit upstairs.
The comfort seats, yeah.
Yeah, but watch the game, see where the problem really developed, if it did. And instead of coming in at half time and blaming the wrong person.
Yeah.
That was before you had screens and everything else. So I always used to sit upstairs first half, and it kept me away from Merv, because he's the one that wound me up.
Was he?
Yeah, Keith used to calm me down, Merv used to wind me up. So, you know, I sat upstairs first half and sometimes come down for the second, but then go back up there.
Yeah.
Because I could just walk up and down there, so it's quite easy.
You can definitely see the game better up here than you can.
You can hear the whistle from anywhere as well.
You can hear that whistle. We talked about that whistle last week. Let's have a look at the team then, shall we, that Ben has picked. And it's 3 changes, and the big one, of course, is in goal. Ashley Maynard-Brewer comes in for Craig, who suffered from concussion, if you remember, last week, and hopefully he'll be okay pretty soon. I wish him all the very best. Joe, and we'll come on to him a little bit later on, heartbreaking that he's injured in goal. We'll miss out on playing in the World Cup for Ghana as well. But Ashley starts. There's Nathan Harness. He's been brought back from Bromley. Ashley was called back from Gillingham, although he did pick up an injury there. Nathan is on the bench. The other 2 changes, Sean Clare in at right back for Richard Chin, and Corey Blackett-Taylor in for Tyrese Campbell. I mean, we talk about all the injuries and that, and obviously the standout one there is in goal, but that still looks a strong 11 to me.
They've all played. They've all played this season, you know, in the first team. So, yeah, you know, you have to deal with it. Obviously, the keeper is a big bloke, because I think that Craig would have, you know, seen this as an opportunity with Joe out, and you know.
And he's a number 1, really, isn't he? He's not number 2.
Yeah, after being dislodged in the summer by Ben signing Joe, and suddenly, right, I've got the chance. It may only be for a couple of games, but I've got a chance, and now he's out injured. So, you know, really disappointing for him. But you're looking at the rest of the squad, and that's a strong team.
Yeah. What would you be saying to Ashley as manager? Big game for him, obviously.
Yeah, I don't really know. You just got to let him have his head. I would say to him, if anything, you know, perhaps a set play or anything like that looks as if you feel you can get it, then or you know, just make the decision quickly and be loud, because the boys don't know around you. You know, they've not played with you, so if you're going to come, let them know, and if you're not, let them know as well.
Yeah, I just think you know, in terms of how the team's been set since we've started the season, he won't have been in and around the first team in terms of even in shadow play, behind them, communicating with them. So the only thing you can do is you want him as calm as possible, but just no indecision. No. You know, whatever your decision is, make it clear, make it concise, make it early, so that everybody knows.
And the one thing we don't know, how good he is with the ball at his feet. Yeah. You know, the other 2 obviously have been playing, and we've seen that, but is he comfortable? Because if he isn't, then they've got to make. We're going to have to make a decision on that. Don't ask him to do it.
Yeah. One other thing as well. We know Charlie got a couple of goals last week, but would he have had to have started all the time? Or how close are we to saying that Chuks, you know, should be starting?
Or maybe not for Kirk.
Maybe not for Charlie. Absolutely.
So
but I'm looking at Chuks on the bench, and I'm just thinking,
frustration.
When are we going to see him start?
It's frustrating, isn't it? Because you turn up and you think, okay. You could understand why he wasn't involved up to a point when he came back, first of all, but surely he's done enough training. Surely he's had enough minutes now to warrant a start if you think you want to start him.
Well, Corey Blackett's in today, and he's been in and out, but the frustrating thing for me is we're probably one of a handful of teams probably who are playing 4-4-2 at the moment. You know, so that, you're saying I've got 2 strikers, so you're right, Brownie. You could put Chuks up there with Stockley. And if you do that, I think Stockley will be asked to drop off every now and then. He's more, or one of them to drop off and help out that midfield. And if Chuks comes in for Stockley, then you know you've got the position you've got now. But it'd be interesting to see Chuks and Stockley together.
It would be.
It would be with the 2 wide men we got.
Yeah.
And that puts a lot of onus on them two midfield boys who have done really well at the moment as two midfield players against sometimes three, which is what you're going to get.
But there's the point. The point being is you don't just pick one of those two, and it doesn't necessarily always come down to form. You've got 3 or 4 days to look at the opposition. Okay, there's a weakness there, so I think that two as a pairing is going to be my strongest two, and you pick on that basis as well. That's got to come into play.
Yeah. Nice fact here. I'm not going to claim credit for it. Greg Stubley has just sent it through to me. Corey Blackett-Taylor's brother Daryl is Port Vale's head of physical performance. So he'll know a little bit about him from a physical point of view then, won't he, clearly. Let's have a look at the league table now, shall we? And as I said, Port Vale are in the bottom half, but we'll concentrate on ourselves. Portsmouth and Derby drew 0-0 last night. As for us, well, we could go 8th with a victory. The 3 teams immediately above us, Wycombe, Exeter and Barnsley, all picked up wins last Saturday. In fact, Peterborough were the only club in the top 13 to lose at the weekend. They were beaten by Exeter. The top 2, Plymouth and Ipswich, both dropped points on Saturday, but Ipswich have just won in the lunchtime kick-off. That's why they are just a point now behind Plymouth, having played a game more. Oxford returned to the top half by thrashing our opponents for today, Port Vale 4-0, as we mentioned a few minutes ago. And chaps, a win for Sheffield Wednesday at Accrington on Saturday. Now just 4 points behind with a game in hand on Ipswich as well. Do you feel it is 3-2, or is there another team that perhaps could catch them?
You always think that perhaps another team's going to have a great run and force their way into that, but I'm looking at the 3 of them, and especially Ipswich and Sheffield Wednesday, I think can go again in this window. Not too sure about Plymouth's finances, but you know that Ipswich and Sheffield Wednesday can. I think there's 2 from that 3.
Yeah.
And Plymouth were in a very similar position last year. They were top after 18 games, I think. Don't quote me on that, but I think they were up there, and they were the team that fell away. And I think it goes to what you're saying, strength in depth and people strengthening in January. I think Derby will strengthen, and I think Bolton was strong at the back end of last season. I think that's all because of the way they play. So when you introduce new players into that system, sometimes it takes a little bit longer for them for it all to gel. So they might come strong at back end as well.
Look at Peterborough, they're 4th, but they've lost 7 matches this season. For context, we've only lost 4, and yet they're, 7 points ahead of us. Does that show the importance of winning games and therefore firepower up front?
Well, before we've drawn these 2, I think Ben has been saying that we've drawn games before the last 2 high-scoring draws where we perhaps could have won a couple of them, and it would have made a big difference.
Makes a big difference.
And, you know, we ain't spoke about it today, really, but it's a must-win game for me.
It's massive.
It's a must-win game.
Yeah,
We'll come on to it, Kurt, I promise you.
Yeah.
We'll definitely, especially with there being a break with the Cup next week as well. OK, 11 games in Sky Bet League 1 this afternoon. As I said, Portsmouth and Derby drew last night. Ipswich beat Exeter 2-0 in the lunchtime kick-off earlier today. League leaders Plymouth travel to Burton, who of course we faced last weekend. Cheltenham, who we play next here at the Valley, host Wycombe. And Sheffield Wednesday, the only club in the top 7 in action who have a home fixture. They're up against Shrewsbury. Standout games for you, chaps?
Standout one was last night, and it was rubbish. Look, I think we said this last week. There isn't one that you go, "Ooh, look at that! Wouldn't mind being there today." They're all, you look at them and they're all pretty bang average, aren't they? In terms of the big teams have got smaller sides, but.
Yeah. All right, Curbs, I'll ask
I think the teams around us could pick 3 points up here.
Yeah. Well, then, that plus the fact that we haven't got a game in a couple of weeks. Tell us then, how important is it we get a positive result today?
Yeah, and I know that managers speak that we've got a difficult game today and they're good at this and good at that. No.
Yeah.
At some stage you've got to go into the game and go, we've got to win this one.
I kind of felt, just listening to Ben's interview, it made it out like it was hard for the players to get out of bed last week. This was wrong. They've had a hard week. We've done this. You're playing Burton, bottom of the league, 5 wins in 31 league games, conceded 35 goals. It's not a tough game. And they will pick up points against teams. That is without any shadow of a doubt. But you've got to make sure it's not you.
Is there a balance, Curves, between wanting the players to be not relaxed in any way, looking at the tables, so therefore that Ben's saying that, or actually saying, "Come on, chaps, we've got to come away with 3
Brownie
points
mentioned
here."
before that in some of our team talks, perhaps on a Friday, I've bigged up the team. And they've all gone into the dressing room going, blimey, who are we playing, mate?
You sit down and go, we've got Madrid tomorrow.
That's because you're trying to warn them about,
Well, that's
the
what
upset.
Ben's trying to do, isn't it?
Well, no, I think the biggest thing today is you've got to deal with expectations. An expectation last week and this week, and the game's coming up, because Brownie said it a couple of weeks ago, we've got a run of games. If we think we're going to get in that top 6, we've got to take the points.
We've also not won in 3 in the league. So as great as the cup games were, win, brilliant, everyone's waxing lyrical, we've gone lost, draw. So if you don't get something today, if you don't get the 3 points today, that's only 4 without a win against teams that we think we should be picking up points.
If I was going into today's game, there's no excuses in my part. The stadium's all right, the pitch is all right. You know, it ain't as if you're going to one of these pokey little grounds, if you like, and the stadium's not as good at best. The stadium's, small and it's windy and the pitch is bobbly and not good enough. Everything's okay today, and I'd be going into this game, warning about this, warning about that, but thinking we've got to get the 3 points.
Yeah, I also think, I think Terry said in the interview they've only lost 3 at home, and it's to Portsmouth, Sheffield Wednesday, Ipswich. But they've also only scored 20 this year, and their main striker, who scored 7, is out. And their next one is 2. So they're struggling to score goals. Right, so we can either pick on the strong home form, or we can say this team really struggles to score goals. Their main scorers are out. We're not going to get a better time to go and play this lot.
OK, I think we'll move on.
And they got thrashed last week.
I think we're going to win.
I hope so.
Yeah. We're only 5 minutes over.
Yeah,
so
I'm surprised it's only 5, I'll be honest.
Let's get to club news updates now, shall we? And as always, we'll start with ticketing news. It's getting closer. Our next home league game is going to be a big one as we celebrate the 30th anniversary of our return to the Valley. We take on Cheltenham Friday, December the 2nd, and we'll be dedicating the whole evening to our big anniversary.
Tough side, Charlton.
You're out there. I'll be joining Brian Cole pitchside for the Knights, as Charlotte Richardson will be deputising for me up here in the studio. We'll be joined by a host of Charlton greats in the past 30 years, and Brownie, so make sure you are here to see them all. Tickets for the match are priced at just £19.92 for adults over 65s and under 21s anywhere in the stadium, while all other concessions are priced at just £7. What's more, if you're a season ticket holder, then you can bring a friend for free. To purchase your ticket or redeem your free ticket as a season ticket holder, please visit booking.cafc.co.uk now. Staying with our 30-year celebrations, the day before that game on December the 1st, we'll be hosting a special anniversary dinner here at the Valley that will see key people and players from the past 30 years return to SE7 to celebrate some of the iconic Charlton moments from across the last 3 decades. With this year also marking 30 years of community work at Charlton Athletic, the dinner, as will all 30th anniversary events, will be raising funds for the Charlton Athletic Community Trust, with 25% of the proceeds from the evening, together with the monies raised at the special auction taking place at the dinner, going to support the award-winning work of CAT. And to get your tickets for the dinner, please head to booking.cafc.co.uk. And chaps, I know both of you will be there alongside many others as well. How much are you looking forward to it?
Yeah, I am. I'm really looking forward to it, seeing so many old boys. I've got great affection for that group of players that was at Upton Park and, Sellers Park. And
you've never told us this before, Kurt.
No.
You've got great affection for us.
A little bit. I mean, usually
he doesn't like to tell you at the time. He likes you to bob along and be under pressure.
Because I think
a bit too emotional.
The boys that played at Sellers Park, and then especially Upton Park, we didn't know where our future was. We didn't know where. It was just day to day, wasn't it? We all know that, and thankfully it all worked out well. But for a lot of the time, no one was quite sure. So yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing so many old boys. Fed up with seeing you too.
We are part of that 92 group. Brownie, 2 old teammates, Sasa Ilic and Radistin Kishisnev will be there as well.
Yeah,
good. Looking forward to seeing them.
Yeah, always rad.
Will he be marking you?
No, Rad loves a drink, right? And he gets, honestly, when he's had a drink, you don't know what he's going to say. And
he was really underrated.
Oh no, he wasn't to us. He wasn't in the dressing room. Yeah. I think he was underrated from the stands. But I always say Kish was either world class or pub player. There was nothing in between. But he came back here with Brighton and absolutely let us have it. He run the midfield and Brighton turned us over like 3 or 4-0. And I think everybody that day sort of went, yeah, see,
He's got
and Sash could come up with a new story that we haven't heard for the first time.
He will do.
Not the coin one, is it? I'll keep it in the coin one.
He'll bring the backdrop of his Montenegro thing that he had on Charlton TV as well with him. OK, I'm also delighted to announce that today supporters can watch every league game live on Charlton TV up until and including New Year's Day in the UK, as well as anywhere else in the world. from today and throughout the FIFA World Cup, which of course starts tomorrow afternoon. UEFA's Article 14, Brownie?
Yeah, point 1.
Yeah, it prevents live streaming Saturday matches in the UK. Will be dropped. This means that all 7 of the Addicts League games starting today and up to and including the fixture at Portsmouth on New Year's Day will be available to watch anywhere in the world, including the UK. Fans globally, as well as the UK, can now purchase a Charlton TV World Cup pass, which is priced at £70, and the price will decrease by £10 after each of the fixtures it covers. In other words, after today, the price of the World Cup pass will drop from £70 to £60, and so on. So head to cafc.co.uk to get yours. We said last Saturday that we discovered our opponents for the 3 cup competitions that we remain in, and now we have confirmed dates and kick-off times for 2 of them. Up first, we'll head to Plymouth Argyle in the last 32 of the Papa John's Trophy on Tuesday night. You can, of course, attend the match in person, but why not stay at home and watch every kick live on Charlton TV? We'll be providing match-only coverage for that game, and passes are priced at £10 each. You can get yours now from cafc.co.uk. Following Tuesday's game, we'll host Stockport County in the FA Cup at 3 p.m. on Saturday, November the 26th. And lastly, we'll welcome Premier League club Brighton to the Valley on the week commencing Monday, December the 20th. Though a finalised date is yet to be confirmed. You can get your tickets for all matches that are currently on sale from booking.cafc.co.uk. Well, Charlton's under-18 secured their passage into round 3 of the FA Youth Cup by beating Northampton Town 4-1 at Prince's Park on Thursday today. Daniel Kanu, who else gave the Addicts the lead in the first half before the Cobblers levelled shortly after half-time. Hope we get better cameraman this afternoon. But strikes from Toby Burrow, Patrick Casey and substitute Kai Enslin ensured that Danny Sender's side progressed into the next round. A big well done to our young lads who have got an exciting tie to look forward to in the next one, as they've been drawn at home to Newcastle. A date and kick-off time for that match will be confirmed in due course. Well, everyone at Charlton TV would like to extend their congratulations to the Charlton Live podcast and the My Only Desire fanzine, who were both nominated for awards at the Football Supporters Association Awards. I am delighted to say that MOD Mag were victorious in the Best Fanzine of the Year category. They beat off competition from Dogma of Brighton and Hove Albion, the City Gent of Bradford City, Trevor Francis Tracksuits of Nottingham Forest, United We Stand of Manchester United, and YBR of Watford. A big congrats to Gav, Will and the team at the MOD Mag. Good guys, aren't they?
They've probably won that because they come to the golf day.
Yeah, probably all about Alan Curbishley, that's why. And finally, we'll sign off with some ticketing news too. I'm delighted to say that half-season tickets are now on sale. For the first time in quite a few years, they will grant you access to our final 12 regular home league matches rather than 11, with the cheapest half-season ticket price breaking down to an average of just £13.33 per match. We want you here to feel the goals, feel the excitement and feel the drama. And we have certainly enjoyed a lot of that already this season. Head to booking.cafc.co.uk to get yours now. And with the half-season ticket becoming active from our Boxing Day match against Peterborough, it makes the perfect Christmas gift. Everyone likes a posh present at Christmas. Not my joke. That was Rob's, the director. OK. Tumbleweeds going.
You had to clear that up, didn't you?
Right, many of you will know about the work of the Charlton Athletic Community Trust, but maybe not many will know that it connects and goes towards the Isle of Sheppey. CACT Connects is a targeted tutoring programme which offers support in maths and literacy to primary school children in areas of high deprivation. Here's a look at the work CACT has been doing in Greenborough.
The teachers are really helpful and they help in your capability.
More extra help than some other people. They can log on to the school online and they can revise on what they need to do.
It's going to be easier for the teachers because then you don't have to ask them all the time. When you get stuck with something, you just watch the video and it will explain it a little bit.
I find it useful because I think it's really good for me to see how much the children have taken in during our maths lessons. So then this is showing me, you know, how much they've remembered as well, because that's something important, is they've remembered the methods, and looking at different ways of giving them the same question. It's another, you know, something else that's quite good.
we did football, and then on the next time we come back, we did a different sport. So when we're learning about the sports, we can develop our skills in the sport we might not have played before.
And the coach explains it in a good way.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I like the warm-ups.
Yeah, the warm-ups. Yeah.
You don't just do the same thing for the whole term. You do different sports.
Brilliant. Great to see the Community Trust still at their fantastic best, 3 decades on since everything started for them. Well done to Jason Morgan and his staff.
Ooh.
What?
Jason Morgan, MBE. He stops me every time when I just say his name. And he adds on the MBE every single time.
The thing is, he lives near me in our village, and he ain't the only MBE in there.
No, yeah, but he, honestly, if you don't say it, he gets the right his face screws up, and he stops you, and he goes, MBE.
For the records, I didn't play any part in this.
I met another MBE from Maybridge the other day.
Go on, who was that then?
I'm waiting for Jason to come up to me and find out and introduce him.
Let's have a quick chat about the World Cup, shall we? Because there is a tournament called the World Cup going on, even though these two aren't really interested in it. Look, first of all, though, we've got to talk about Joe and the fact he got injured. I mean, what happened in the warm-up, we weren't quite sure. And then to think he's going to be out, not just missing the World Cup, he's still going to travel with Ghana.
In the hope that the finger gets better.
I mean, he's definitely out. He's definitely out. He's more just a supportive type role. So how must he be feeling, and how important is it the club rally around him?
Yeah, he must be distraught, because it doesn't come around that often, does it? And, 4 years' time, who knows what's going to be happening in 4 years' time to Joe. So, yeah, absolutely, he must be gutted. And, I think you can deal with it if you've done it in a game, in a match situation. We're doing it in warming up, it's a bit tough.
The game before, he was leaving the next day.
Yes.
Yeah. Absolutely heartbreaking.
Yeah. But, OK, when you've got someone at the club, though, let's try and be a little bit more positive now. And a club like Charlton isn't always guaranteed to have players representing their country. How exciting is it for the teammates, staff, manager? You look at Dean Kiley, Mark Kinsella, Klaus Jensen, all went to the World Cup in 2002.
Yeah, and it is brilliant, actually, because obviously when they come back, there's stories to be told, and you watch the games hoping they're going to play, I think it's always fantastic for a football club, full stop, when you get someone that can go to a World Cup, and it's few and far between. It's particularly for clubs like Charlton, it's not like it's a regular occurrence every time there's a World Cup. We have someone representing, we don't.
Well, it is now.
Proud man, though, as a manager.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and as I said, that when Powley won his England cap, me and Merv went to Villa Park to watch it, and I read somewhere he nutmegged Guardiola.
No,
I can't remember that. I can't remember that. But we went to watch it.
It was brilliant.
It was just brilliant that we had a player that was playing for their country.
Yeah. OK, let's talk England now. Curbs, you didn't quite get to be England manager, although you did have the interview. I'm now making you England manager.
All right.
Yeah. Gareth doesn't know yet. Who gets into your starting 11? I'm not necessarily... top of the head, you don't have to pick the team, but let's think people like Harry Maguire. There's so many players going forward. What would you do?
And, listen, we don't know what Iran's like. That's the first game, isn't it? Iran. You don't know what sort of team they're like, etc.
They're very under Carlos Queiroz. They're very negative in terms of sitting back. They're very compact.
So we've got to break them down.
But they've got a decent striking terrain.
And you're right. I think that one of the problems Gareth's got is some of these players are not playing regular.
Yeah.
So what do you do about that?
But what do you do? What would you do?
Well, it's another thing I was saying, depending on the opposition. But it looks like Maddison can't be risked at the moment, and I would have thought that might have been the game. But when you're building up into, listen, we've got to get out of the group, and you're building up into bigger things. It's really important you get the good start. So I think he's got to go as strong as he can, like his strongest. I'll be looking at this game thinking, Iran, it's the Welsh game really that I think is going.
Yeah, but we could have qualified by the Welsh game, and then you can rest players, can't you?
But I think the strongest team.
Would you play a Harry Maguire?
Can I just?
He's been brilliant for you in the tournaments.
Yeah. Right. So I'll interject because
we can't spend too much.
No, but if you go back to the last World Cup, right, and I remember this distinctly, you could not have foreseen the formation and the players he was going to play, and we went quite a long way in that World Cup. And I think that's the intriguing thing. We can all wax lyrical about who should and who's in form and who's not. Yeah. But actually, Gareth Southgate works for him every single day. And that World Cup, none of us could see the back three he went with. in that World Cup. So in terms of Harry Maguire, that's a real tough one, you know, because we speak about match sharpness.
Yes.
And he's not got a great deal.
But going into the Euros, he was injured for 6 to 8 weeks, and he was eased into the tournament. He ended up being in the team of the tournament.
Maybe he'll get eased into this one.
Who knows?
I think the difference this time round for Gareth is it's the first time I think he's got into a tournament a little bit under pressure.
Yeah, I agree.
You know, whereas before it was, let's see how we get on and whatever, and it surprised everybody. His record has been fantastic. We can't take that away. The record has been fantastic so far.
We just need to beat America, mate, because otherwise my command will be...
Michael
oh, my God, my phone will light up.
Yeah, I'm sure.
I can't have that. I can't have that.
You just saw the WhatsApp number, so get your questions in, whether it could be about anything. We've got a couple here. Steve from Perth, who will win the World Cup? And there's also, who will be the World Cup surprise packages? And that's Darren from Doncaster.
I don't know, there's lots to talk about Argentina, aren't there? You know, they're becoming the favourites at the moment.
Brazil are the favourites.
Yeah, but I think that they always are. Yeah.
Stop go to, isn't it, Brazil?
No, but they've been brilliant in the qualifying, and they've only conceded 5 goals.
Let's put it on you. You know more about it than us.
Well, Brazil are the favourites. If everyone plays to their top, I think Brazil will win. But I actually think one of 4: Brazil, Argentina. I think Spain were the best team in the Euros.
Right, so Spain's the outside betting it slightly.
And England.
Yeah, okay. Belgium can't get thrown in there because they're much longer odds, but they always seem to do all right, don't they?
Belgium, for me, they've only got 2 world-class players now, and that's Kevin De Bruyne and Courtois.
Yeah.
The golden generation is more the golden generation now.
And the weather? Because there was complaining yesterday about it's 34 degrees,
they've
which
got
is hot for us.
It would have been hot up in Scotland playing golf there, wouldn't it? But they've got the aircon stadium, but it's just getting used to it. Denmark and Uruguay are my sort of outsiders, not necessarily to win it, but to go deep. So we took.
The thing is as well about the build-up to the World Cup. Normally, the build-up, obviously the summer, the players have a little bit of a rest. Yeah. Then they play 2 or 3 games build-up into the tournament. Yeah. They've just flown out there this week,
and we build up.
Yeah.
You know,
but they've just flown out this week, bang, in a week's time. Well, 3 or 4 days since they landed, they're playing.
Another reason why it's all wrong.
Stop. We'll move on. OK, back to on the pitch matters now for Charlton. And youngster Tyrese Campbell has been impressing on the left flank of late, having come through the academy. He's burst into the club's first team squad and got valuable experience in the first team itself. He spoke to Charlton TV yesterday to look ahead to today's match.
Tyrese, a big few weeks for you recently. How would you try and put that into words?
It's been very good. I've had a lot of opportunities in different games during the week, so I've made my full debut. I thought I'd done well, and so hopefully from here I can kick on and get more opportunities and take my chance.
A full league debut came away at Shrewsbury, didn't it? When did you find out that you were going to be playing in that game?
The day before. The gaffer just came up to me and told me before training. I was a bit shocked. He always told me to just be confident, do what I normally do. I'm playing like, in the park with my friends or something, and just don't worry about making mistakes and always work hard for the team.
And how helpful is that when he says stuff like, just played like you're playing with your friends?
Yeah, it's very helpful, because like, when I first went up, I was nervous, didn't want to make any mistakes, take no risk. But I learned that as an attacker, you have to take risks to make things happen, and you might make mistakes sometimes. So, yeah.
You've obviously been here for a long time now. You were just saying you've been here since under-9s. You're one of so many players who have been here at that sort of under-9, under-10 level, who've gone all the way through to the first team level. I know there would have been people who I'm sure you would have looked up to. I mean, when you were a young player, how much inspiration did that give you, seeing people like sort of Carlton Grant, Ezri Konsa, people like that?
Yeah, it gave me a lot of inspiration. One that I looked up to the most was Lookman, you know, similar position to me. And when he was in the first team, the stuff he was doing, scoring goals, that's just what I want to do as well, so hopefully I can do that.
And people often talk here about the Charlton family, having come right the way through the system. I know there are lots of coaches that would have helped you. There's also a lot of people off the pitch who would have helped you as well. You were just telling us about Tracy Leeburn. What was it that she used to do for you?
As a first year scholar, I stayed in digs, so I stayed with Tracy. When I first went digs, I didn't really used to speak a lot, but every time around the dinner table, before dinner, after dinner, we had to speak and tell them about our day. At first, I'll give like one-word answers and stuff, but as the time went on, I started giving longer answers, and she made me come on my show more.
What was her cooking like?
Yeah, it's good. Yeah, very good.
What kinds of things was she knocking up?
Salmon, jerk barbecue chicken, pasta, yeah, stuff like that.
And the Charlton family still lives on at senior level as well, doesn't it? You were just saying about some of the senior lads who have been a real help to you in recent weeks.
Everyone's been helpful and helped me feel a part of the team. One in particular was probably Manny. Speaks to me all the time after training, before training, about football, stuff away from football. Also players like Jez, Deji, Miles, young like me and in around the first team, so you can speak to him about different stuff.
I imagine it's probably quite an intimidating situation to coming into a first team squad, so how helpful is that when the senior lads are so sort of welcoming?
Yeah, it was good. At first I was like nervous. I'm still a bit nervous now, but not as much. I didn't know who to speak to sometimes, but when they're all nice and come and speak to me, it makes it a lot easier.
Going back to your debut up at Shrewsbury, I think you almost scored, didn't you, a couple of times. After the game, we noticed on social media that a couple of fans had taken a notice to a couple of your middle names. What's the story behind that?
My mum and dad are fans of Tupac. I think he passed away on the 13th and I was born on the 14th, so I think that's why they put in my name.
And are you a fan as well?
No, not really. I don't listen to his music. Yeah.
Okay, so looking at Port Vale to come on Saturday now, another big game, another chance for you. How much are you looking forward to hopefully being involved?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Hopefully I can get some minutes, another opportunity to impress.
Yeah, great to hear from Tyrese there as the lads are out now. I mean, look, he's clearly a quiet individual, Curbs, isn't he? But, you know, when you're like that, how important is it to have the people? And, you know, staying with TJ and Carlo as well would be perfect.
I bet Carlo was going like, don't you want that? Don't you want that?
Nicking his food, is that what you
I bet he shouldn't be too disappointed with his middle name. He could always be called Llewellyn, couldn't he?
I'm Byron.
But do you know what? Are you Byron?
Yeah. Have you got one?
I'm Christopher. There's not really anything wrong with that, I suppose. Yeah, he's not playing today. Let's have a look at the teams, shall we? As the lads are just out as well. He's not playing today, but there's every chance he could come on if things aren't quite going right. So he's become one of those players that can make a difference for us, and that's great to see. But in terms of Port Vale, Brownie, what are we thinking? Negative rather than positive about them?
Yeah, I mean, they've obviously lost their striker, who's their main. Ellis Harrison. You know, he's their main goal scorer. He's come out the side. I think he's suspended. I think. There was rumours that James Wilson, his replacement today, was not going to make it. So he's come in, but he's only on 2 goals. So they're not a team that's free-flowing, scores from everywhere. And their main goal threat's gone. But they play with a back 3. And the way Ben was speaking about them, he was saying, we've got to play our possession-based game and keep it away from them, because it sounds like they're a little bit more direct. They get into your half, they pressurise, they squeeze.
You mentioned long throws.
And they rely on their set pieces. But
if that's the case, against a high-pressing, high-intensity, sometimes man-to-man marking team, Curbs, do you try and beat the press by going a little bit longer?
It's interesting to see what Ashley does in goal. You know, is he comfortable? Is he just going to send the back 4 up and, you know, kick it long and we're playing their half? So it'll be interesting to see what tactics we use playing out from the back.
Yeah, well, the pitch looks great.
Yeah,
it's nice and big.
Yeah, the stadium.
Stadium's great as well.
3 points.
As Curbs and also Brownie have said, we need 3 points today, especially heading to a couple of cup games coming up. So let's get to our commentary team for this afternoon, shall we? Terry Smith and Greg Stubley. Chaps, have a good one.
Thank you, Scott. Thank you, Curbs. Thank you, Bernie. And yes, welcome everybody here to Vale Park as the home fans sing The Wonder of You. No, I don't know either. If anybody can let me know, that'd be great. So it'll be the Addicts to get us underway, defending the end to which the Charlton fans